documents from the strategic planning retreat, would you be fine with reviewing one policy in December?
That's the board's decision. I'm not.
Because we have 3 to review, right? Policies that are on your list?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, 3 to review in total, but 2 were decided to review in December. When I say decided, it was discussed but not official.
Not a motion, okay.
However, I believe the misdemeanor, I could be wrong, but the misdemeanor policy, ICT 1, I believe one of those, if not both, led into the PSB that we decided.
All right, you guys are live now.
Thank you, sir.
Did you catch all that? Do I need to repeat that?
I would repeat that since we just went live.
Okay. So there are 3 policies that the board still has on an unofficial list left to discuss, being the misdemeanor policy, the ICT 1 policy, and the property and evidence policy. 2 were unofficially decided to be discussed in the December meeting, being the misdemeanor policy and the ICT 1 policy. I believe one, if not one, then both play into the 24 PSB 5144 that we decided to add for December, but I could be wrong. I believe, I can't remember which one plays into that though. But to answer your question specifically, I don't mind if just one is discussed. I would just be cautious on if they both play into them, then they should both be discussed around the same time that that specific PSB is
And
discussed.
that's 2454, and then what was the other one?
24 PSB 5144 is the only one that we unofficially decided to speak on in December.
And the policy that was connected to that?
Is either or both the misdemeanor policy and the ICT 1 policy.
Okay. I believe it was both. So that would put 2454, 5144, and 2 policies, and the strategic planning.
Per the synopsis on the running list, 24 PSB 5144 is an investigation into an officer committing a misdemeanor crime while off duty. So I would at least like to discuss the misdemeanor policy in conjunction with that PSB case.
Okay. So I have potentially for December, we haven't made any motions yet, 2454, 5144, and misdemeanor policy. Can you read me the other 2 policies again?
Property and evidence, and then ICT 1.
Anything else on the secretary report?
And I'm sorry, what did you unofficially have?
I had the one that we moved off of this agenda, which would be 25 PSB 2454, then the 5144 that you mentioned, and the misdemeanor policy.
Okay. Yes, however, I will just need to get with the citizen who requested it. She said that the date that we had set for December worked. I don't know if Monday works, so if that gets made into a motion, that's fine, but I will have to get with you and Odell and Shanita to let you all know whether or not she can be in attendance or not, which would then determine if it's on the December meeting or not.
Okay.
The misdemeanor policy, is it how officers are dealt with?
Joe, can you turn your mic on?
What does the misdemeanor policy cover?
Any misdemeanor crime or any misdemeanor.
Committed by an employee?
Or anybody, covered employees and or others, yes.
Okay, I guess I just need to look at it, because I was just curious. I mean, is the gist of it how you investigate a misdemeanor crime, or how it's handled by the department if somebody within the department commits, or both, I guess?
She's pulling it, but it would be both.
Okay.
Okay.
And I haven't sent it out via email to the board yet, but I will if that's what the board decides to review.
Okay, I just had it pulled up.
Was it
recommendations.
Actually, if Greg could just send it out within the next month, that would be great, and I can look at it and I'll answer the question. I was just curious what the connection is between the misdemeanor policy and this particular complaint in the sense of,
Faith was the one who made the motion for 5144 to be added to the list. So I don't know if over a 2 or 3 month time period, you can remember why you wanted to review the misdemeanor policy in conjunction with that PSB.
I don't think I remember, but once I have the case in front of me, reviewing the policy before we review the case is probably what will make sense, or we wouldn't have put those together.
I'll wait for the movie to come out.
I think it's like the other one where we had question around the juvenile, and then we reviewed the juvenile policy and then did the case, and it was like, okay, that makes sense, and
Okay, so actually I should say I'll read the book before, okay.
I'll read the book before the movie. Any other business, Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, the only other thing is that I forgot. So if I remember, I'll speak up.
No further business.
All right. Then I would, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's like I didn't want to talk if you were talking. I will make a motion that we would like to review 24, 51, 44, or is it 25? Okay, PSB 21, PSB 2154. 24 PSB 5144 in conjunction with the misdemeanor policy on the December agenda.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't
Is there a second?
get called by that name.
Second from Tanya. Any discussion?
Friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment.
24 PSB 5144 in conjunction with the misdemeanor policy, as well as 25 PSB 2454 in the December meeting if the citizen says that she can make the meeting.
Can we, what would you think about, instead of adding it to the December meeting, we put it on the January meeting and we'll know for sure?
I had gave her the option to hold off until the January meeting, and she emailed back saying that she wanted to attend the December meeting given that date.
Okay.
So I would just personally like to give her the option to know that we're moving into the 15th to still see if December still works better than January.
Okay, so I will amend my motion to add 24 PSB 5144, 25 PSB 2454, and the misdemeanor policy for the December agenda.
Is this motion to approve the entire agenda for December?
It's to move putting those on the agenda.
Okay. Do we need to also add, like, discussing the board retreat as well?
We made that motion earlier.
Perfect.
Do we need to add the ICT 1 policy and property and evidence policy, or are we saving those?
I think it might make December too full.
Sounds good to me.
Because I want to give a very robust discussion. I want everyone to be able to discuss the strategic plan documents, because 6 documents is going to be a lot of discussion. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. We've had discussion. Any more discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous.
Mr.
So
Chair, I do remember one thing. Tanya, I'm surprised you haven't said anything. There was a discussion that we needed to have about permanently moving the meetings back to City Hall or not as well. It was discussed last time, but I had said I'll wait till somebody more official than I to have that discussion, so you were okay.
Okay, because we've set the agenda now, so that's done. We're done with the secretary report. So before we go into executive session, I would like to make a motion that we determine the location of all of next year's meetings instead of going into executive session now. Second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Tanya, you want to talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on where we should meet?
I think part of the reasoning behind moving there was to get more, to try a different location, maybe get more people. I don't know if I've really seen that. I think it's the same people who tend to be there at either location. And the environment of that location to me is not as conducive to a learning environment or a work environment. It's too cold. So I don't like it there, but I'll go anywhere.
Any other discussion around where we should meet?
Go
Does
ahead.
have you talked to Odell about this at all, the chair? Any ideas where he would, if he has any feelings on that?
Honestly, I'm going to channel Odell here a little bit, and he's going to say, I defer to the board.
Okay.
I think the board is still on the come up, given what we were handed and what we've become. And I say that to say that we obviously want more community participation than what we've had. And I have high hopes for 2026. 2026, right? Lord, I forgot what year it is. Okay. I'm 24, but I'm getting up there in this brain. Anywho, and with that being said, I would love to see a meeting where chairs are packed out, right? And we have a full page of community involvement and community discussion. And so I say that to say that I'm fine with either location, but I believe one of the discussions to move it to the Advanced Learning Library was the hassle of having to come through security and having to figure out parking and whatnot. Additionally, I believe there's some citizens who have held different lived experiences that might prevent them or scare them away from coming to City Hall. And so that's my only reservation when it comes to coming to City Hall. I'm fine with either one, but I do want to take the community into consideration as well.
I would say that I agree that City Hall may have connotations for individuals or hold memories or power that aren't necessarily what we anticipate. I think the library seems a more neutral location, and so I do second what Greg just said.
There's also other city buildings. The water building, which has a very nice meeting room.
We were just in it last night.
There are other locations that have not frigid temperatures also that would allow us to have.
And besides being cold, though, we've had tech issues multiple times. We haven't had microphones. We had that tonight here. But overall, location here, easier for tech and easier for personnel. Something else to consider.
I'm kind of 50-50, but I think the thing that does seem to me that something needs to be considered is the impact on the staff having to come to a different location. I mean, I assume this is much easier for them, and I understand. I guess I understand that I don't understand, people who might not want to come to City Hall. But it's City Hall. I mean, this is their building, and I do understand the security thing and so forth. It's a hassle for us. I shouldn't say half the time. Several times we've had a hard time getting out of the parking lot because we can't get the machine to, I've had that trouble. So the library's easier from that sense, but I do think that it's a very close call, and I'm kind of persuaded that, maybe the comfort thing and the staff thing may make more sense to do it here. Thank you.
I'm going to speak on behalf of the recommendation.
Madam Chair, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do know Josh has been waiting he keeps.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Josh.
I know he's been waiting to say something.
It's okay. What I was going to say is while we're having the discussion of where we should do it, I would want to add to Tim's point is that Evergreen is a great space. It's where our district advisory board is in District 6. Atwater is a great space, and as a part of our strategic plan, we do have community engagement in there. And so I think that is an opportunity to connect with different parts of the city if we are we are physically at their spaces. And while that may logistically be a hurdle, and I recognize that these are very nice spaces, they have the AV, and it's the work. You know, if we want to be out and representing the community, then let's bring our meetings to them as well.
Josh took all my talking points, but I will add that per the Jensen Hughes recommendation, one of the number one things they suggested was being out in the community and moving around. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've been to the Water Center for CEA, Citizens Engagement Academy. I have been to Evergreen for an event. Rockwood has had the DAB meetings moved back there because their new meeting space is awesome. So I am in agreement that while it may be inconvenient to drive way out west if you live east, it's also just as inconvenient to have to go through security all the time. So I'm just saying there's some really nice spaces that have audiovisual capability that put us in the areas that people have asked us to be in without having to struggle with like figuring out where to go. There's some really nice city spaces now.
Have we asked the citizens what they would like? The last time we made the decision to move to the Advanced Learning Library? The 3 that came, did we ask them?
I think the citizen engagement is where we will learn that, because right now, all we have is our opinion, because, I mean, like, I met with DAB, a couple of you have met, but we haven't asked anyone what they want yet. So that needs to probably be part of the discussion for strategic plan in December.
Well, and speaking of wonderful spaces, there's the beautiful new building up in Nomar. If we wanted to plan far enough in advance, we could deliberately have community engagement events at our meetings and say, okay, this is policing in District 6 or whichever, I think it's East Bureau up there. You know, like to bring it to the Latino community here in Wichita as well, and another building opportunity. So it doesn't necessarily need to be city property. There are private ones, well, I don't know, maybe legally it has to be, but there's opportunities for engagement, I think, if we broaden our horizons.
And so what I'm hearing is there is some feeling that we should be going different places on a monthly basis. And so I think that's even a bigger leap, which I'm not necessarily opposed to in the long run, but I don't know that we're in a position to start doing that anytime real soon. I mean, if that's something we were to really look at, because if we go west or east or north or south and we go there every time, then it does become a little bit more geographically. I mean, one thing about City Hall is right here in the middle of the city. The other thing is there is security here. I mean, we're kind of unique because we're generally going to have an armed officer or two with us at the time, so I think that's probably less of a concern. But it is considered a police oversight type of board, and so it's not inconceivable that somebody could decide that they wanted to do something that they shouldn't be doing, and the fact that everybody's gone through metal detectors and so forth, there is some advantage to that as well that I don't think we should totally discount. Again, we're a little bit better situation because we're generally going to have a couple of officers at our meetings, but it's just another consideration.
I think we should first and foremost also consult with Zach, because we have to figure out where we can and cannot get technology. I know when we had this discussion last year, there were some places that were suggested that I don't believe technology was capable for, if they were, whatnot. So I think that's something that we need to take into consideration also. But I think also we can spend an extensive amount of time discussing where the meeting is. To be honest, the statute, I believe, only bounds us to meet once a quarter. We took it upon ourselves to meet monthly, and I say that to say that I think we're already, exceeding that expectation. So where we choose to meet or not, at least once a quarter, I believe, should be somewhere in the community. If the other meetings that we have are within City Hall, I'm okay with that. But I think because we are meeting once a quarter per the statute, one of those meetings should be where the citizens are.
I just need to interject because I have to leave. I need Greg to take over this meeting, and I hope that you'll entertain a motion to choose January's meeting place and to table the discussion for another time. But I'm not going to do it, so I've got another thing I got to be at, which I don't ever do, but I have to do it tonight. So I'm going to give this to Greg to put us into executive session, and I'll let you guys decide what's what. And I'll see you all on December 15th.
15th.
Thank you. It will be here. Ready to get back in, or is that?
I do think that I appreciate Greg's suggestion of maybe having it here, I think, and then occasionally going out into the community. I think that's maybe a way to marry or blend the two options that we have. If we choose every quarter, it gives us a way to determine what the engagement might be out in the community.
I could argue to every other month if we want to do to one to each district. Say for logistical purposes, we do where the district advisory board meetings are held, which have similar AV demands as our meeting, and then say January we're District 1, March we're District 2, or so on, where we just go around so that at least once a year we'll be in each district, and then in our in-between months we're at City Hall or the library or wherever we so decide. But that gives us 6 different community engagement opportunities and a connection to our connection to our council members, connection to the community.
Just reiterate that to be able to have a calendar of those places and spaces and the dates way in advance, so at least having planning for 6 months or something of that nature, so that it is not something like, oh, sorry, we were supposed to be here, but now we're going to be here, that kind of thing.
Would the city representatives be able to assist us with planning out for a year in each of the district advisories, or do we need to reach out to the city councilman, or is it just finding a library in those areas?
I think as much as possible, say, the library is changing their operating policy to allow public to have it for free instead of charging for it, so all the availability is probably going to go down to $50 the library will be. Like January's, I can't even book January's meeting until November. So hopefully I get in there the very first part of the day to get a book. I don't know if it's really good there or not.
Then I would just think that we should at least try to do it in half-year increments of having a 6-month planned out, and then everything right before, I guess June would be waiting too long, but maybe in May, trying to plan out the next 6 months, potentially, that way it's not like you're having, because I mean, to be fair, we had this whole thing planned out last year that we were meeting at the Advanced Learning Library, but that's already had to change, right? So maybe a 6-month calendar to base it off of would be a little bit more convenient, and that's also maybe something that's we can have a copy of or whatever, I don't know.
I think we could pilot something for a 6-month period, plan those out, and then evaluate maybe in May and see where we're at and how things are going during that May meeting.
I can interject. I would ask if whatever you guys decide, let me know as far in advance as possible so I can get those scheduled. The community centers get put out pretty quickly.
How many?
Is there a motion on the floor?
Not at the time. I think it was just a discussion on, but, I mean, unless we choose to table this discussion until December, I don't know how many people are going to be present for the December meeting. But also for Shanita to have ample amount of time, more than a month or less than a month, I think we should decide at least something for the January meeting.
All right, so I'm going to motion that we choose to alternate for a 6-month plan, January through June, alternating meeting here at City Hall with meeting in district advisory boundaries. We will meet here in the even months and meet out in the community in the odd months.
Is there a second?
I'm going to, can we do discussion before a second? Or do we need to have a second to discuss it?
I'll second it so you can discuss.
Okay. Maybe for the purposes of timing, we flip where it's City Hall on odd months and other city facilities in even months, just because that would put us in February for booking, like, say we do District 6 first, Evergreen. That gives Shanita more time to potentially secure a room. Does that
I
sound?
can accept that friendly amendment.
Okay.
Okay, the friendly amendment has been accepted. Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you have more discussion? I'm sorry, okay, any opposed? All right, the motion carries, and it is approved.
So we probably do need to make sure, since we said a 6-month, we need to make sure that we identify where we're going. So I guess the secretary can track. We're going to start in January. What district? Do we want to go 1 through 6?
January will be here, February,
I thought you wanted it the other way around.
no.
Okay.
Even months in district advisory boards.
So January here, February, do we just start at District Advisory 1 and move through the numbers, or do we have a higher priority of district advisories to start with?
I think just from the top, really, Shanita can have preference if she wants, I guess, but I really think in order not to, how many districts are there total? 6. Okay, then I think to not, so we'll get through 3 districts, and I think to keep track, just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I can reach out. Based on availability? Right, perfect, okay.
Now, does it need to be made in the form of a motion of just in May, taking time to review the others?
I don't think it needs to be a motion. I think you'll just have it on your to-do list.
Yes.
Is there any other further discussion before we move into executive session? Okay, seeing none. I move that the Citizens Review Board recess into executive session for, please hold.
30 minutes.
For 30 minutes to review information relating to PSB cases, 25 PSB 1610 and 22 PSB 7076 pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel. The executive session is required to protect the privacy interests of an identifiable individual. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, the executive session will begin at 6:03 PM and end at 6:33 PM. The meeting will resume in this room.
now live. Let me open the door and invite you today. And just a reminder, when you want to talk, just push the microphone on.
All right, we have come back from executive session at this time. At this time, the board has taken no action at this time, with further discussion to take place in the future. Thank you. Is there any other further discussion before we move to our last line item? Seeing none, I hereby adjourn this meeting at 6:35 PM, and to reconvene on Monday, December the 15th at 5 PM here in the first floor boardroom of the City Hall. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Seeing none opposed, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.